Hello and welcome back ahead of our third game of the day, GamerLegion versus YDN Gamers. Now, of course, anytime we do games like this, someone always has to bite the bullet and go for the two back-to-back games. And in this case, it is YDN Gamers. And that honestly gets me fired up because they just came off of a win I did not expect them to get. A good look overall to take down Gamers Origin. And GamerLegion, rough start to the day. So this is an opportunity for Italy just to continue its meteoric rise up the standings.
Yeah, things do look good for YDN at the time being, but I will say GamerLegion, they got their warm-up game in now. So game one definitely did not go their way, but according to Coach Delivery Panda, they got all the int out of their system. So here's hoping they come back in with a stronger foot forward this time around, because now we are in a very real situation where the two teams that make it out in this group are not very clear.
No. And frankly, I love it. We don't have a Diffuse Kids situation. Sorry, Diffuse Kids, you're the butt of this joke. Where there's one team that's just getting absolutely stomped, right? We could have speculated that it would be Excel coming into the week, but Excel are obviously ramping up. You heard from XD Smiley that Excel are actually the team that he's more worried about. He thinks they're a lot better than they've shown so far. And I think when you look at the UKLC, it's very true. I think that if you only watch the finals, it's misleading, but this team looked so good in regular season. They choked a bit in the finals. It feels like they choked in week one, but if they wake up here, I feel like they are a very big threat.
I think they absolutely have to be right now. And, you know, the last time these teams faced off, it was a weird one. You've brought it up a couple of times now, where it was like the Akali plus the Qiyana over from the side of YDN, which was not a good look at all for them. But what you fail to mention when you bring up the Lissandra and the other side that shut him down is that we had Hjarnan and Visdom playing Talia and Poppy in the bot lane, which I thought was so sick. The more I see of Poppy, the sweeter I think it is.
You're just trying to jam Poppy in anywhere. You're like, put her in the jungle, put her support, put her mid lane. I don't care. You just want to see Poppy under. I respect
Poppy mid lane can work into some champions.
You know what you're about. I'm personally about Bard and Kayn. You love the Poppy and the Rek'Sai. I respect it. The Draven, though.
Kayn's a top laner now. I don't know if you've heard, but he is.
Dark times.
We're a couple patches in the past now on this game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Coming to a solo queue game near you.
Of course. VAR is going to get banned out, Draven as well, so a lot of respect paid to Endz's champion pool, trying to make sure the lane-dominant options are not available, maybe hoping to put him in a situation where he has to play Kalista so they can rinse and repeat on things that have worked for them before, but 4 bot lane bans is going to be more than enough alongside the Elise. Bit surprising to me, but for Tabasko, it is obviously one of his most successful champions, so giving him that credit in the draft phase.
Yeah, and we'll be seeing whether or not the Graves pops up again for him, because that was absolutely sick in the last game they just played. Now, this time around, there's none of the LeBlanc and the Zoe bans coming around the middle lane, so maybe we have a wider pool. Maybe we don't have to see such high priority on that Azir plus Corki, but as has been the standard so far in this tournament, you see Ornn picked on one side, you pick the Trundle on the other side, steal away all those tank stats, have a pretty decent jungle performance as well. Unfortunately, this means more than likely Tabasko won't have the chance to have another hard carry performance out of the jungle.
To be fair, his hard carry performance, while very good on the score line, you see all those kills, you're like, oh man, this guy must have been popping. It was still very slow, very farm heavy, building up these incremental advantages via XP. So I'm excited to see the Trundle, where he's maybe more responsible for setting someone else up. Specifically love Renekton Trundle as a duo. I love having that pillar with anyone who has their own form of CC. Feels like a great way to get things kicked off. Bit of anti-synergy against Ornn, who can use it for knockups, but you know, it'll work. They'll find a way, Ender.
Yeah, both sides. Right now, it's Gabbo on the Renekton again, which we have seen struggle in games where there's a lot of backline peel for the other team, and I actually think this is a really good spot to put Graves into the draft right here. When you see a Trundle and Renekton on the other side, Graves going to do super well into both of those champions. Can definitely scale up and try to give Tabasko a bit of taste of his own medicine now, because Graves into a lot of melee champions is going to have the time of his life in any of these fights.
And especially with that phase rush, right? It just allows him to zoom around the Trundle. The pillar not nearly as much of a threat, so letting you dictate the pace a little bit more in some of these skirmishes. But we have something that I love to see. We have some form of CC on every member of YDN Gamers, if we include the pillar. If we include the pillar, chat, don't flame me. So a lot of ways to kick fights off, something that I love, especially when you're not necessarily the favorite going into any game, just a little bit more to dictate the pace of the game. But the Thresh going into hands of Visdom, I would be concerned about. Of course, not if it's paired with the Ashe, which is what we saw in that first game, but as long as they get something with a little bit more bite, I think that's going to be a very strong pick for the team overall.
Yeah, as long as we don't let Hjarnan on that Talia again, YDN think they're going to be very comfortable in this game. So I think this very well could be a situation where you have like I hate to say it, but an Ashe plus a Corki on the side of GamerLegion, because you're still going to need some magic damage coming through, although with the Graves on top of that, that seems like Ninja Tabis may be like way too insane high value, so might see something besides the Corki. But if Syndra gets locked in, we've seen Corki be a solid answer in towards that pick, even though you get out-pressured inside the early laning phase, like Syndra should get push up against you, champion does very well later.
And the debate here from Hjarnan, we can see it actively as he goes through his relative champion pool. Is it Ashe? Is it? It's Aphelios. I was excited. I was really ready for the Ashe. I wasn't excited, but I was ready for you to be correct. I should clarify. So it'll be the Aphelios for Hjarnan. Similar setup in lane when you have the power of that Gravitum to what the Ashe can provide. Obviously a bit more of a late game scaling damage threat, but gonna suffer a lot more in the early laning phase, especially if that Syndra does end up going bot lane. And with a Corki now locked in the mid lane, frankly, Ender, I don't love this matchup because if as Corki you're going tier early, if he wants to go tier build, that puts you pretty far behind. And if you have to get a Hex Drink or two just to survive the Syndra, you're so far delayed on your itemization that you just feel useless for so long.
Yeah, I'm one of the people, I don't think Hex Drinker is absolutely necessary. Now, I don't mind necessarily going for like an early nullifying orb and like potentially turning that into Mercury Treads if you need to, especially there's a lot of CC on the side of YDN. But I agree with you, if you're going tier plus the Hex Drinker, then the point at which you come online is super, super delayed. Now, the question I have is whether or not this could be a Lucian or a Syndra down in the bottom lane, because thinking about it, I really like the pairing of Syndra next to a Nautilus, just in terms of like being able to jump on someone at level 6 especially. Like, you're going to be able to burn flashes super easily, because if Syndra, you know, uses her E through the minion wave like she can, that sets up so nicely for Nautilus to get in there as well. But if you're looking for the earlier online, the Lucian level 2 power spike, as it were, well, maybe you'd like to have him bot side.
The Lucian level 2 power spike.
An old one, but a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. You're never going to knock it. A bit more aggressive. See, I personally prefer the Syndra Nautilus on the bottom side. I feel like you just get to bully so much. But I guess giving respect to that Thresh, you don't have really defensive tools to be paired up with the Syndra. So sending her mid lane as well. We'll see how Nite does with it. But Endz, this is big. He had the Draven game last time around. He looked good after looking like, once again, such a weak point, I feel like, in week 1, especially in their match versus Gamers Origin. But now he has a bit of a chance for redemption here. Going the Lucian, he is the heavy favorite to win out in lane. He just needs to make it happen.
Yeah, and already I like, ooh, this is a little bit different here from GamerLegion, grouping up 5 members towards the top side of the map, and Gabbo may walk straight into this. He's sitting inside of the Tri-Brush right now. Rabble can take E and hop over the wall, but the whole team looking for the collapse now on Gabbo.
But they didn't put a ward. Oh, they are going to get a bit of vision here.
Wait, there we go.
They didn't place a ward.
Where's the hook, though?
Because they don't have vision.
Because they have no vision.
They had no vision.
Yeah,
They just didn't place a ward. What's the word? You're mad and also balding?
Yeah, so I'm not, like, mad about this one. I'm more just, like, confused. Like, if there was an IRL question mark ping, like, that's what I would be doing.
Would you, let's say, like, flash a tombstone icon if you had one of those?
Yeah, I would flash the tombstone icon and then charge in and die and kick people the wrong direction. Sorry, that was a little specific. I know.
Wow. Wow. Okay, we'll get you guys some therapy after this. Help you guys rebuild your roots. Communication not strong here between Ender and apparently his frustration with Blue Razor. I guess it got personal. We didn't card this all until 31 minutes, but he's not playing in this game. So we'll talk about him later. For now, it is very standard jungle starts. Of course, no leash for the Lucian Nautilus does mean that they're going to get a bit more lane priority, a little bit quicker. But it also means that Graves is going to have a much faster start on the opposite side.
Yes, and I will say in this game it is very important for YDN to make something happen early mid-game. You're looking at the scaling options that GamersLegion have, or GamerLegion has, you're going to lose past like 3+ items. I really do feel like here with these champions. When Ornn is giving you items, when Graves, Corki, and Aphelios all building crit chance up, like once they get to the point where they're showing like, wow, you are not going to be able to beat them. So I need to see Tabasko maybe work alongside Cospect to make some roams happen, because bot lane against a Thresh, it's pretty hard to gank if Visdom is giving respect over and, you know, standing back to be able to offer up a lantern. But if you're able to get Cospect out of the bot lane off of resets and then perhaps attack a mid lane, attack the jungle, or attack Rabble inside his own jungle, that's where you can make some moves.
Yeah. Want to see exactly how they play this one out. I imagine we'll see a much more controlled version of GamerLegion after what was, once again, it was just a bad start. The coach, Delivery Panda, their coach, once again, great name, we'll say it every time it comes up, and said they had to get all the int out. They did not play a warm-up game, which is usually for, let's say, getting out some of those questionable plays. Now they've gotten all those questionable plays out, so I imagine we'll see slower, more controlled, more textbook League of Legends. It might not be people's favorite to watch, but when you've just lost a game you absolutely shouldn't have lost in terms of perception coming into the day, you play a little bit slower, and I think that's probably the right choice.
And the thing about this matchup in particular was, like, if all the games went as expected, coming into this match, YDN would probably be 1-3, right? And GamerLegion would, GamerLegion would have the 1 game advantage over them. I think at 3-1 if they were able to pick up the win against BTXL earlier in the day. So this game was for YDN to try and tie them. Instead, now it is the opportunity to try and push past them in the standings, which goes against a lot of the expectations coming into the day.
And we've already seen, of course, how GamerLegion fared against Gamers Origin. It was kind of a mess. It felt like GamerLegion were trying too hard to style, flexing picks in too many places, and it ultimately just led to a very sloppy, I would say, very chaotic early game that ultimately did not favor them. So this win here is crucial. This win and then following up with another, really, if they want to make it out of the groups. But we are setting up for another situation like we saw yesterday where we could have, you know, these multiple 4-2, well, not quite 4-2s because Excel obviously has a win here, but multiple tied score lines coming in at the end.
Yeah. In this game, all GamerLegion have to do is chill, right? Like, Rabble's going in, stealing away the camp right now, but he's fine to do it this time around with the Thresh behind him to get him out, but he doesn't have a smite. Tabasko could take it if he wanted to, but decides against it, not knowing if Thresh was sitting in the bush right there to go for a hook, I suppose. So Rabble will just be fine with that one, but these are the small victories they need to go for. They don't need to be forcing anytime soon, but now Hjarnan.
That's gonna be big. Of course, the G2 and the TSM icons. Absolute respect. Ender, before we proceed any further, I'm going to do the quick shot dad check. Are you on the right feed, or are you 2 seconds behind right now?
I might be 2 seconds behind.
You're like, he could steal it with the smite. It's like already gone. It's been gone. I was like, okay, well, we might not be seeing the same thing here, buddy.
We both saw the TSM emotes, though, I think.
That's all that matters.
Oh, man, that was unfortunate. Hjarnan walking straight into Tabasko right there, and now YDN, they say, oh, you didn't chill? Well, we get the kill. Now we're going to get Drake on top of that, and this could be problematic for GamerLegion not down the road. Not just because, right, like Lucian got the first blood, he's going to be super happy with that, but also by being able to find a 5.5-minute Drake, it opens up better opportunities for you to accelerate the pace of the game, which is the exact opposite of what GamerLegion want, because now, not only like when you look, 15 minutes down the road, well, you could be looking at a very early Drake soul for YDN if they maintain control, but even sooner than that is we're going to have a Rift Herald spawning in just 2 minutes, which now means YDN can go for a swap a little bit later on and take that objective without leaving a Drake on the bottom side for GamerLegion to just sort of trade away.
Yeah, huge snowball potential too on this team. You have a Syndra, a Trundle, a Renekton, a Lucian. Like every single champion on this game, if they get 1k gold lead individually, essentially makes the game unplayable for their respective lane opponents. For Lucian now, coming back on Cutlass so early in the game is a nightmare for Aphelios. He can really never be left on his own. Maybe with Gravitum he can get out of that situation, but just attaching that slow to a normally CC-less champion adds so much kill pressure to this 1v1.
Yeah, it becomes really brutal to try and deal with, especially when you can keep the lane in a favorable position. Right now it's sort of stuck on YDN's side of the map. It will start pushing back on this wave. They should look to fast clear this one away unless Hjarnan just sort of thins the wave on his own to maintain it sticking over on YDN's side. This will mean that Visdom now can walk up into the river, clear away. There's a control ward inside the pit that he should go ahead and try to spot out, but also one sitting pretty close right inside of that jungle as well. So it could be a nice move for GamerLegion to try and get themselves some more control down here and make sure that Tabasko cannot find a repeat, because while Hjarnan was the one who died, Visdom was the one who lost the flash and is now a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, and of course this is now where the lane gets a little bit more volatile. Hjarnan with that position was able to just push in, was able to fight the creeps and avoid fighting the champions. With Chakram, he can feel relatively safe given the extra close range combat power that it does give him, but have to always be ready with Tabasko, especially heading towards the bottom side for an all-in here in the bot lane.
And he's spotted on the ward. And he clears the ward. And now,
never mind.
And now, Nite's lane is in a really awkward position. You can see Phantomles actually playing pretty aggressively right there when Tabasko was nearby. Make sure Nite feels a little bit awkward about stepping up to clear away those minions. Now he's back in the bot lane. Visdom, no flash.
Big hook, but they lay down the turret as well, and that's going to mean massive follow-up damage from Hjarnan. He's already procced the Conqueror. Graves now on the way in, looking to proc that phase rush. Dash forward, one auto, that's the W. Phase rush now procced, and Cospect just cut down. I thought that hook was going to be so good for them, but a fantastic turn.
Yeah, it was a really nice counter gank right there. Visdom using the Lantern to bring Rabble into the fight. But on top of that, Cospect went in. Tabasko was not on the same page, so he's a little bit late to the party. Couldn't actually put down the pillar to try and punish right there. And that meant that the counter gank was going to be very, very good there for the side of GamerLegion.
And that's really the strength of those Chakram turrets, especially on Aphelios, is that you cannot go close to him. Because not only does he get the extra Chakram, especially with this combo pairing, he just gets to lay down an additional gun, free-firing auto attacks. He gets extra procs off of it. And while, yes, in theory, you could burst him down in that instance, you know, they just don't really have anyone positioned to do so. So Hjarnan just gets to have his way with that fight.
Yeah, and in the early game, right, obviously that's going to be good. It's only going to get better the later we move into this, because when you consider, like, how does like Gabbo and Tabasko like really team fight into a white-red gun Aphelios, right? If he has that loadout, you are not going to be able to deal damage to him. He's going to absolutely shred through you. And then there's also a Corki and a Graves. They're going to be hitting you as well. So those melee champions going to struggle a whole lot as soon as Aphelios starts to get some items, and that's why I'm worried for YDN. I feel like they've really put themselves on a timer, very similar to the fact that they did this the last time they faced off against GamerLegion as well, and this can be a weakness for this team that, you know, I was saying just a few minutes ago, they got the first Drake. They should have been the ones to be able to rotate, to have the pressure to make their way up and take down this Rift Herald, but instead, with the package timer from Nite, it is GamerLegion here first.
Of course, though, GamerLegion starting it up, they have burned a lot of resources. The package already down. They're trying to use Ornn to buy a bit more space. 1k health. Tabasko, can he move in and smite it? Not clear who got it. It does look like it was not stolen away. Renekton now on the front line. Gabbo going to be able to make his way out of this one. GamerLegion now on the retreat. Rabble was able to grab that one. It will be at the trade of a kill, but an excellent hook from Cospect. Nite now flashing out. Trundle now coming in. No pillar quite yet, though. Endz ready to go over the wall if necessary. Flash over the auto, the setup to piercing light. The last auto, and Nite will go down.
Oh man, right there, GamerLegion putting a lot of resources up towards the Rift Herald, but YDN win out in the fight, and this is a huge victory for them. Sure, they lose the Rift Herald, but they get a couple of kills. They're going to be able to find some plates in that middle lane as well, and you can see the Ornn ultimate really wasn't used as an engage tool here. It obviously was dodged away, but GamerLegion, they just wanted to pick up the Herald. Phones then steals the Lantern away from Rabble, who flashes away over the wall, but that just means Phones gets targeted on down, and Cospect continues to be able to find a lot of these really nice hooks here and turns into yet another kill for the side of YDN.
Now obviously burning a ton of resources just to finish off this kill on Nite, but worth it if it gets Endz snowballed a little bit further. Presumably we didn't get to see what happened during that replay, but they were most likely, I think, able to grab a bit more pressure onto the mid lane as they already had a wave pushing in there. They've now reset, but for Endz, he's going to have to be careful here. Closer and closer to the Blade of the Rune King, but that's not going to stop him from dying if 4 champions go for the dive.
Yeah, I have no idea what YDN did, because they got no turret plates, and they also had no pressure in any of their lanes coming back off the map, so they must have stuck around, maybe taken away some camps from GamerLegion. They still will be able to be the ones starting up this Ocean Drake, which GamerLegion don't need to contest. Nite doesn't have the teleport. I think they should just take the trade. They already got the bot lane turret. If they get top lane turret plates on top of that, well, they're going to be super happy.
Rabble going to dash in, going to try to steal, get the Thresh Lantern right out. It's clean. Obviously, second time they've really tried to make that play, but it does look solid overall. Tabasko now going in, burning his ult very early on the Thresh. Of course, Wall Thresh has Aftershock, so we'll get the additional resistances. The hook will be flashed away from. Cospect has been on point this entire game. On point and with, of course, a slightly imbalanced hitbox, but that's all you can ask for.
Look, you can still be on point. The point is just the size of the entire lane in the case of Nautilus Q.
Yeah. Point
the goalpost shift.
Yeah. On anchor, you know?
Yeah. Anyways, in the meantime, like YDN, this is a weird trade for them, and the fact that, you know, it's going to be a Cloud Soul here and probably not ideal for them either when they're looking for the Soul as a sort of mini win condition here for the team with the first 2 early Drakes. They lost so much in terms of plate and gold around the map. Even the plate in mid lane that they picked up, I don't think Syndra was actually there, so that's just gold going in towards the Abyss. That means GamerLegion with a pretty comfortable advantage at the moment, and no Rift Herald for YDN. Remember, they were not the ones to pick that up, so they can't just place that down and try to trade back. They just have these Drakes that don't mean a whole lot on their own, and they're hoping that eventually they can cash in on that soul.
And once again, we're in a situation where someone is falling behind to Graves as Rabble continues to just pull ahead here, 77-69 the CS score. Graves with tier 2 boots and a warrior enchant is going to be very difficult to deal with. Tabasko not even going back yet to finish the Syndra Hulk here. Good news is Endz is going to grab a plate, more gold into the pocket of the Lucian, but this was a game, Ender, where when we looked at the Lucian, we saw Blade of the Rune King early on. I thought once he hit that Blade of the Rune King that the game was just going to be nigh impossible to play for Hjarnan because of the early lead that he got. But now Hjarnan's actually ahead of the clock. He's gone for the Essence Reaver. He's finished his item before Lucian has had an opportunity to do. Of course, there's a difference between boots there, but it's going to make it a lot more difficult. Now it looks like Endz has been caught out. The exhaust is there as well. There is no flash. Dash away. A bit of a fumble now trying to make it out. Pillar to buy a bit more space, but they're just going to clear that one out and shut down. More money for Graves.
Oh no, today I've seen flashes into the wall, now I saw a dash into the wall, Endz gets punished, but Nite might be too.
Very questionable hitbox, but it does not matter. Maximum range on the Nautilus hook. The game gave it that one, and well played to find the response pick.
People dying all over the place for the time being, but when all is said and done, I think it's very important to say that YDN's comp needs to have a gold lead coming out of these early stages. And GamerLegion, even though it's just 1K, with this comp, it means so much more for them, and they're looking for another pick on Cospect.
Cospect looks like he's going to be able to Spider Knot his way out to safety. Rabble, though, on the chase. It is cloud map, so Rabble will be that much faster in the jungle. I like the aggression here, and I love that Visdom finally has a team with damage paired alongside of him. He was so on point in game 1 in terms of just landing Thresh hooks. It's just that there was no follow-up for his team when he did, and now we're seeing it again where his use of the Lantern and his use of the hooks have been so key in setting up some of these positive plays for GamerLegion.
Yeah, they've been really good. Just one gamer, a whole lot of them in a Legion though, right? You know, I was corrected that, like, while we were talking about like the gamers on one side, a Legion is a lot of people, so technically they have a lot of gamers. But now one of them in trouble with phones in the top lane.
Unstoppable now, but not nullifying any CC there with that ability. Should be the wall pressed through. Phone's just going to flash over. Good that they get the flash there. Potentially an opportunity to repeat gank top lane. Phone's with no TP as well. Force back here does mean that most likely we'll see a few plates in favor of Renekton, or we would if it wasn't 15 minutes and there were no plates available.
It's too late for the plates, unfortunately. That means not a lot of free gold for YDN to pick up. Now, what I need to see from their moves, I feel like it needs to be like a vision inside the jungle now, because as they go into side lanes to pick stuff up, right, they're not going to get any control, but they have the champions to be able to snipe you off. Like we saw them find Nite inside of the river with just Syndra and Nautilus right there. They have these types of tools, so vision control is so important for them. So in this sequence, the last 20 seconds, we saw Phantomles walk into the bot lane, which means GamerLegion come mid, they get wave control. They then walk down through here, clear away any sort of wards, clear away the control wards as well that YDN was using to dominate the vision around in that area. And that's something that YDN are going to have to reclaim prior to this Cloud Drake spawning on up here if they want to be in a good position to take that one away.
And I think we're at the point in the game, Ender, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like this is the strongest relative point for YDN gamers. Syndra's on one item with some flat pen. No one on the enemy team has really built any magic resistance. You got Blade of the Rune King Lucian, of course, and a Blade of the Rune King Renekton, level 11. So I feel like relative to enemy team scaling, this is like the time where YDN have to do something to pull ahead.
Yeah, and they're doing just that. They're going over towards the Rift Herald, right, which is going to mean they can place that prior to wait. They're just going to fight right here.
Yeah. Was spotted out. Looks like they are going to be able to grab that one. Gabbo can step forward, but they're just leaving Tabasko to die. The entire team is split, but Renekton very strong at this point with the Blade of the Rune King. Continue to push forward onto Hjarnan. That's going to be the knockup as well. An excellent snipe coming in from Cospect. Rabble now has to run. He has the phase rush. He should be able to dash over the wall just shortly. He's going to flash instead. Endz is here, but he has no mana. The hook once again connected from Cospect. This man absolutely cannot miss, but they leap forward into the raw damage of that Corki, and it's going to cost them a lot. Rabble.
You can see how close that fight was, though, right? Like, the setup of that fight was not the best. That was not ideal from YDN, but the itemization points that they are on, as you were bringing up, are key for them. They turn that fight around. They only lose one member in the process, but they have a lot of low players. Gabbo may be able to teleport in here and cut off Rabble, force him out of the pit, because this is the prime objective, right? YDN want to be on Soulport. Way more important than any sort of Rift Herald is being able to secure this third Drake.
And having ultimates up that much faster is going to be important for this team, especially when their window to win is quite small. Need to find as many fights as frequently as you can.
They have no smite. They have no smite. Tabasko is not here.
Pulling up. Tabasko now on the way in, but the Drake has been leashed. Ender.
So, that was not very good. YDN basically just leashing the Drake for GamerLegion, and like the actual Drake going to Gamer, like the Drake itself, the buff, like no one cares about that. YDN could care less about it. But the thing is now, if they're to get the next one uncontested, let's say in an ideal world for them, that means 5 more minutes before the soul is going to spawn. That means 5 more minutes bonus on top of until the Elder Dragon is going to spawn, and they need these breakpoints. They need these major objectives to come quickly in this game before they get outskilled like we know they absolutely will. This is the fight that led all into it, and you can see they were very split at the start, but Gabbo, no one can beat him at this point. He had the finished off Blade with the Rune King, which makes him such a threat, but coming out of the back of this play, you can see Rabble does some damage, right? If GamerLegion had better items, like they could have just gotten those kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that in that play, I think Visdom a bit overconfident. Like, if there's one praise I have for Visdom is that he's on point with these hooks. He's always hitting them when they matter. He's there with the lanterns, but he definitely overcommits to fights that the team is not really set up to win. And now he's going to be able to back off scot-free there. Lucky for him, the pillar and the hook fail to connect on the flying Aphelios. Endz, though, now getting a little bit overconfident potentially, but will manage to close that one out with the culling. However, might just have to trade his life as Rabble now rushes in. Well played by Endz.
And it's just going crazy because Gabbo's all ending bot lane.
Oh no, phones. Not the ultimate that he needed. Notoriously hard to hit that at melee range. If your opponent is right on top of you, they can't just sidestep quite easily. So Gabbo's just going to focus on the tower instead. Just a trade of ults there.
This is exactly what I've been needing from YDN, though. Like, start, like, put the pedal to the metal here. Do something, right? You're going to fall off as the game moves along. So these types of moves, while it was just that single kill inside of the middle lane, seeing Gabbo also now be able to drop the Rift Herald down bot side, secure that for them as well, will be a nice move from YDN, but it won't be super meaningful up until we can start to see them play around a potential Baron or a Soul.
Tough. I think it's safe to say that this game is for YDN. Gold dead even is misleading. That's the thing I hate about Gold, is that Gold doesn't tell you scaling differences. It won't account entirely for the Ornn items. Thank you, Observers, for highlighting it anyway. Obviously, we can see the relative lane leads, though, and that's always a nice thing to indicate. Syndra, much stronger in those short-windowed burst trades than perhaps the Corki, especially with the gold lead that she does have, but as we get later and later, it only gets more and more difficult. It's a tale as old as time, Ender. The team that tries to do this early game composition versus the team that just picks scaling. And I think in this tournament, the team that's just picked scaling wins out, I would say 7 to 8 times out of 10.
I think it might be higher than that, if I'm being honest. But here goes Nite, a little nuts. What are we doing? Stop!
Cospect just going to wander his way on out of that one with the power of the Gargoyle Stone Plate. Really night there from Nite.
That was not a good night. That was a bad night.
No, I agree. It might be bedtime. He's 0-4. Like,
the man just didn't get any sleep, right? Like, that's the last night, I hope. Like, I hope we don't see any more of that.
No. That was bad. Because, like, the thing is, I haven't even been watching Nite's scoreline because it feels like most of the trades that GamerLegion have been doing are, like, fine, and I'm okay if Corki dies. But that is where it's, like, very clear that he is overconfident.
The thing that's the most frustrating about it, too, is, like, we continue to say that GamerLegion do outscale, right? And that kill is not going to change the landscape of the game. But if you stack up enough of those, especially when Baron has now spawned, like, you can reach a point where it does end up costing you the game. So they definitely need to rain it on in here. You're waiting for items still. Corki has nothing. Wait for the Trinity Force at the very least. Get that Mirror Mana upgraded, and you're going to be unbeatable. Or, you're going to be unbeatable in the team fights later on. There's no need to extend to overpressure here early.
Agree completely. I think understand your strength relative to the enemy strength, and they've won out on a lot of plays leading up to that moment, and you can see that overconfidence. I think you saw it in Visdom around that Rift Herald fight. I think you see it at Nite in that moment, and they just need to chill. You know that you win if you get late enough in the game at an even state. The only way you lose, as you said, Ender, is if you let the enemy team get such a big gold lead that they just have massive item advantages over you and can just raffle stomp you.
Now will be the Cloud Drake being set up, and interesting setup already, because you can see Tabasko is not grouped with his team, so it will be GamerLegion with control over the river. Now he's going to make it on through here, and if they can force them out of this tight choke point, they can keep them out, because with Trundle Pillar, you can just drop it right there, and they won't be able to make it out. There's a good hook.
Big hook on the Thresh, the Culling to kick the fight off, Call the Forge God now coming in. Hjarnan looking for an opportunity to throw down that all, but Gabbo zoning Nite out of the fight. Flash over the wall, they're just going to one-shot the Corki. 0-5 now his score line as they continue to fight for a little bit longer, but Endz going to take down Hjarnan. They're just absolute bloodbath here. Rabble going to run for the hills. That's the power of the phase rush, but he's just running away to safety. Gabbo's not even going to let him go. He says no survivors, no witnesses. Nobody's going to know that you even stood a chance in this game. It's a triple kill for Endz. They might just look to give him the quadra. Rabble is going to walk his way out of that one. So there will be one witness. He can go back and tell his family what happened when they tried to fight the early game comp on the Drake.
If this was Skyrim, it's the one chicken that saw you do it and you still got a bounty on your head and you're really tilted about it because you're going to lose all your stuff. Anyways, seeing this fight one more time, like GamerLegion, they are so down in terms of overall itemization. You just see the power of Gabbo in the backline. 1v2 against Rabble, and I guess he has Phantomles right behind him, but you can't turn and kill him. With that ultimate, he is going to be absolutely untouchable. Gets into the center of the entire team fight right there, and it's super easy to execute for YDN. GamerLegion not on a point yet. It was only the third Drake for YDN. They didn't need to contest over it, but now YDN picked themselves up the Drake. They're on Cloud Soul point and have this huge lead coming out of that fight, ready to go over towards the Baron.
And to be completely honest, my favorite part of that fight is that if Rabble had gone down, he would have been hard flaming Phones, because Phones flashed out in such a way to give Renekton the double dash stun onto him, and if he had gone down there, it would have been entirely Phones' fault, because Phones was dead either way. There was like no
Phones did it earlier too. Phones stole the lantern from Rabble inside the Herald pit earlier on.
There must be some personal beef here. Either that or we've been lied to and the int is not all out.
Well, the thing is, they're making him play a tank, right? Like, remember the days of Fiora where he got like solo split push win games?
Yes,
like, they just stuck him on a tank. He's like, no, I'm gonna make you pay when you make a mistake nowadays.
Oh my god. Oh, well, and they've definitely paid a lot of prices here. It's a 2K gold lead now. 2 items completed across the board, 2.5 if you're lucky enough to be the Lucian or the Syndra on this team. While Corki has the Muramana, it's stacked. That's damn good news, but the Trinity Force is still lagging behind. Double items for Aphelios.
25 minutes in and there's no Trinity Force. That is rough.
I mean, he's 0-5. A Syndra and a Renekton flashed over a wall to one-shot him last team fight.
And he doesn't even do damage.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's like very personal. Ender, like they are just like, you will not get to play this game. And it's, to be fair, it's working. Nite has really not gotten to play the game much. Have to see what this package is for. Hopefully not ulting back into the mid lane, or Wing back into the mid lane, I guess. As Hjarnan is now soaking up all of this farm. I like the decision. He's gone for the no attack speed, full flat AD build. Will make his ult and his abilities very strong.
Yeah, the struggle for GamerLegion, though, is that this Syndra is going to be dealing like so much, like basically true damage to GamerLegion, like the Corki, the Graves, the Aphelios. Like, it's a second item Void Staff, so Phantomles not trying to deal with any of those resistances. You might as well kiss your no magic mantle goodbye if you are Nite in this game. Like, with the burst damage of these champions that YDN have, like, they're going to continue to win fights through this Cloud Drake spawning on up, and maybe even give themselves a shot at an Elder. That's where it is going to be more of an even footing, I would assume. Obviously, they have a good lead at the time being, but by the time Elder Drake spawns, assuming YDN get this soul, 3 items should be in for every single carry on GamerLegion. That's when they're going to have the Ornn as well. So I feel like YDN almost want to extend, take this soul into maybe a potential Baron play prior to that objective spawning up.
Yeah, and the good news, of course, if you're on the side of GamerLegion or if you're a fan of GamerLegion, is that Corki does have the Trinity Force finished now, so all is not lost, and the later we get in the game, the harder and harder it will be for YDN. We've said it before, we can say it again. Good news for YDN is I don't love Cloud Soul here. I would love Ocean Soul, but as you mentioned before, the 10% movement speed we talked about in the last game, very, very good for Trundle, Renekton, and Nautilus when it comes to just getting on top of Aphelios, because no matter how many items Aphelios has, okay, up until 6, you can still just one-shot him if you stack enough champions on top of him.
Yeah, if you just unload everyone down into the backline, you can definitely make that happen, and the Soul going to be important for that as well. I would also like to point out, like, there are level advantages for the side of YDN. They don't look as insane as they were just a second ago when I thought of this point. Like, Gabbo had 2 levels over phone, so it's about 1.5 levels for them. 16 should be coming soon as well. That's going to be a cool breakpoint on Renekton for all the tankiness in the world when he pops that R button down.
Ooh. Oh, never mind.
What?
Sorry, were you not? Oh, so Hjarnan he got the glitch with Aphelios. I think it's just a spectator bug where, like, as you push your active on your Q on the Severum, you start moonwalking everywhere, and it looks very cool. But we missed it. The observers were trying to highlight it. It's fine. It was cool. It was fine. You had to be there really to understand it.
I mean, I was there. I just had my eyes closed. Apparently,
it's fine.
Doing a Lee Sin cosplay.
It's not relevant, as you frequently do. But that's fine. Ender, how is this every game at EU Masters? Have you noticed this? Don't get me wrong, this meta is really hype, or can be, especially with people showing so many unique picks, but Attila said it once in an interview, and now it feels like it's true every single game. Scale until 30 minutes, 1 fight to decide the game. This might be the fight, but luckily Phantomles gets the input buffer on the QE combo. Scatters the weak, in this case the weak is phones.
Yeah, but Soul is just spawning, and now they don't have an Ornn ult. Like, GamerLegion were already going to be a disadvantage. Now the Ornn not going to do much. Gabbo on the ward, though. You got to see that. He's Lee Sin, too. You're Renekton, man. Open your eyes.
Get your butt out of there, Gabbo. I feel like the rest of the team should be trying to get the Drake. They figured it out now.
Yeah, just get Soul.
Drake, Gabbo can double dash through. That's a flash out. The Flay coming in too. He's going to go for the stun, the dash out. That's a shutdown on Renekton. That's a big deal. If they do not get this Soul, they will most assuredly lose the coming team.
They've
fight.
got it.
16K.
They've got it.
Gonna go through Syndra.
69! Nice. That was close.
Oh, it was close.
That was close.
It was a really nice secure from Phantomles. I agree, Ender. God.
And they get the turn on top, so all they gotta do is sacrifice their top laner. They get an easy Drake and the tower.
Nice.
Nice save.
Lovely. You're a peerless professional, and I. Truly, it's the in-game commentary that I think keeps the people coming back for the EU Masters, Ender, and that was one of the fine moments that we can look forward to.
I can't hold it anymore. I can't hold it. Oh man, the Pepe left's out of me. Ready to get back into the game. 30-minute mark. All right.
Say it one more time. All right, so 3 items plus Molten Edge coming in for Hjarnan. It's a big deal. You saw how much damage he was doing even before the Molten Edge, I believe, in that skirmish where they killed Renekton. I'm going to say that thing that we said before. Late game for GamerLegion. Now they also have the luxury of the absolute Savant Ornn build in the Locket of the Iron Slurry, and that looks like it will be completed shortly, as the Obsidian Cleaver is now also getting upgraded. So
wait, why are we upgrading the Obsidian? Like, do we just hate Corki players? Like, I get it, Nite is 0-5, but the man would love to have an upgrade.
They want the IE upgrade. They're waiting.
Well, they did IE first, I'm pretty sure, and then they gave it to Rabble. Everyone had their items.
I'm saying wait for Corki to get IE. No one wants. No one's like, ooh, yeah, the extra mana on the Trinity Fusion upgrade.
Okay. I'll give it to him. Now, I will say the items have come through, and they're just wait. Are they actually just starting this thing?
Yep.
This is a little bit nuts here, but they want to force the TP out of Gabbo.
They've got 3 items. Corki has package as well. Ornn now comes in. If it's just multiple members, they can just get very aggressive here. Phantomles giving them a lot of respect. Just going to blow Thresh up. Goodbye. Corki's over the wall. He can't even get over. Nite now going to have to go onto the back foot, and YDN just going to start to run down the enemy team.
Look at Hjarnan!
Oh! That is so much damage, Hjarnan. That was disgusting. Hiding in the brush, waiting for the opportunity, hiding in the fog of war, and just like that, all it takes is one man, one moment, and that was Hjarnan's moment. He just crushed the dreams of the entire Italian league with that play.
Hjarnan just absolutely destroyed YDN. They're standing over the wall with the Infernum gun. That takes me back to some clips I saw on pre-release Aphelios with that Infernum getting the 5-man one-shots right there. Absolutely crazy by him because the start of the fight, not good at all. Phones, his ult gets canceled by a good pillar from Tabasko. Visdom walking forward, the package over the wall. Like, everything looks crazy, man, from GamerLegion. But then Hjarnan stays in the fog ward. They don't know what's happening, and then, oh my god, that is ridiculous.
And to be clear, that was a make or break play. There is no control ward there. Hjarnan does not know if he is on vision or not. He would have instantly died if there was vision there. That could have been the biggest int of all time, but Hjarnan takes the risk. He takes the gamble, he flips the coin, it comes up heads, and he wipes the entire team, crushes that team fight, and now the scaling composition that was guaranteed to win if we went late enough has a gold lead at 32 minutes.
Yeah, and they basically said, hey, we don't care about the Cloud Soul. If Elder spawns in 2.5 minutes, we're going to hit our breakpoints by then. We're going to get both buffs and look to close out on you. The gap has shrunk. It really is one more last-ditch effort from YDN. They can hold on against this Baron buff. They shouldn't lose their base up versus this one. Right now they're just looking to get a pick inside the enemy jungle, but realistically, you are going to be looking for a play around that Elder in 2 minutes.
Huge. YDN, though, still fishing for these big plays. If they catch out Rabble, he has been spotted on the sweeper. They know that they're getting collapsed on, but Hjarnan has to be respected here. TP coming in, Hjarnan now going to walk away. They can try to focus down Rabble, but Nite's on the way in as well. So is Phones. Gabbo trying to get something done, isolating Rabble at the start of the fight, but Hjarnan is the man that you need to keep your eyes on. That damage is going to be massive. It gets time to set up. Tabasko buying more space. Ooh, good on Tabasko. Using the Gargoyle Stone Plate to make more space, to make sure that Hjarnan cannot fight the rest of his team. The culling now coming out, though, and so far it is just the one-for-one trade. Jungle for jungle.
That's still going to be better, I feel like, for YDN, eliminating one of the damage threats from GamerLegion, but that does not mean that they win this fight by any means. GamerLegion still very strong, pretty much full HP apart from Phone, so with the Baron buff minions, they're going to be able to walk it straight down this bottom lane, knock down at least that inner tower. That fight looks really rough at the start, but now we've got a hook!
Clean ultimate, he's not going to be able to click the Lantern quite yet, and they shut him down, and now suddenly the tables have turned once again. The Lantern taken by Phones to ferry him out to safety. With Hjarnan dead for 45 seconds, maybe they can find a way back in the game.
Look, can someone give Cospect a medal? Like, honestly, his hooks this game have been absolutely insane. Always on the very max range of that Q. Consistently found them early on. And then here, where we say, like, this team, realistically, in a really tough position to try and win a fight, even with the gold being even. Cospect has played a phenomenal 34 minutes so far.
Absolutely has. The key to kick off most of these fights, and it's probably going to take a few more miracle hooks if they want to win out today, especially with, oh man, and this is so brutal. You got the Zeke's convergence for Hjarnan too, so he essentially has 4.5 items worth of stats in the fights to come.
And the Molten Edge.
Yeah,
Molten Edge was upgraded on Nite.
He's basically one item ahead of the curve, courtesy of Ornn and Thresh in these fights.
Okay, YDN, it all comes down to this. If you get Elder, you can win the game, you can push for the Nexus, you gotta make it happen. If you do not get this Elder Drake, I think it is all over for them, and GamerLegion would jump up ahead of them in the standings. This fight is gonna make or break the game.
YDN surprises when they won the last game, an incredible performance most certainly. Need to duplicate that, need one more opportunity, one more fight, but the team is now split. The hook does go wide, however. Maybe they can disengage. Endz uncontested for now, able to deal some free damage onto Phones. Syndra with a nice combo there, will not connect as Hjarnan still looking for that opportunity. He has the ultimate, the Infernum ready to go.
YDN should be looking to fight. There's no flash on the backline of GamerLegion. Gabbo still has his, but huge burst coming through both ways. Oh, and now, wait, oh no.
He has flash. He's going to have to flash out of this one. Wait, ooh. And now the other dragon gets started off. No flash for Thresh means no additional escape for Hjarnan. Flash Lantern obviously could have been clutch in the fight to come, and now they're starting this one up, but they have to be so careful because Nite is here, he's Corki, and he's got a package.
Got a big one at that. No teleports though, so even with a huge wave up topside, they're not going to move into play that wave. Instead, it is back over towards this dragon. All the flash is going to be spawning up soon. Gabbo has to go fast.
9K onto the backside against Hjarnan, flashing into the midst of it. Nice to lock Hjarnan down. The exhaust might not be enough though, because Endz is still coming in. Corki packaging, but he's packaging into his backline, just trying to stay alive. Phantomles, where's the damage going? That's Hjarnan now taken down. Ooh, Gargoyle Stone Plate doing a lot, but probably not enough. The rest of the team still chasing. Nite still alive. Rabble still alive. Maybe they can turn this one, but Rabble flashes back here, and it looks like that's going to be it. Potentially good night for YDN as the Elder Dragon drops.
Look, you can kill one of them, but you can't kill all of them. As soon as Hjarnan falls, Nite and Rabble both step up into the fight. It is now GamerLegion with that Elder Dragon, and time to look to try and close out this match.
GamerLegion. They had a little bit more int to get out, but at the end of the day, they had the composition that would scale better. They played it to perfection here in the mid to late game. Now the aggressive flash forwards just looking to proc that Elder Dragon buff, but it won't happen. They're going to break one inhibitor for now. They could look to end, but I don't think they're going to take a risk.
Not
they're
on this
just going to back off.
Yeah. I mean, why even take the risk, right? Elder Dragon going to last for a couple more minutes at the very least. You can go look to play through those other lanes. And hey, you got a Baron buff spawning in 30 seconds. You dare YDN to come fight into you when you have the Elder Dragon around that objective. And unfortunately for YDN, they kind of have to, because it does not get easier for them if they give these objectives over, if they just try to turtle up inside of their base. That is not an option for them at all. Tabasko has to go for a steal. YDN have to look for the fight. But now that Gabbo doesn't have the flash, team fighting into this GamerLegion comp is going to be not impossible.
It is impossible. Like, someone really has to either outplay like a mastermind or really mess up on the side of GamerLegion. Because I'm just thinking about it now. I look at Graves with 4 items. If he ever gets close enough to hit you with that shotgun as Syndra or Lucian, you probably instantly lose. He does so much damage, and on top of that, as the Baron starts to fall, that smokescreen makes it nigh impossible to get any kind of counterplay. But here we go. Tabasko, moment of truth, 3K. They got vision. He's going over the wall. Maybe Tabasko? No! The Baron's stolen away, but he does manage to make it out. YDN trying desperately to secure that one.
All right, so YDN give up the Baron, but just trying to wait out this Elder Dragon for the time being. Fortunately, we don't have the timer on that, so I'm not sure exactly how much longer they have running on that buff for themselves, but regardless, I still don't feel like they are in much danger of losing this one. Now, Phones has that locket like we mentioned before, so the burst damage is going to be even harder to cut through a Hjarnan when he has that red gun too for the max sustain.
Oh, YDN going to be kicking themselves after this one. BTXL also probably frustrated. They wanted to climb back up these standings. Did not need another team at 3-2, as they themselves are only now 1-3. Very quickly running out of options to climb up in the standings. But GamerLegion setting us up for a hype final match of the day versus Gamer Origin. Gamers Origin. Too many gamers. I'm not going to get it right. But it looks like, once again, the slow final siege here. GamerLegion not going to take any big risks. Not going to force any unnecessary fights.
We take all 3 inhibitors before we close out the game here in the European Masters, because the longer the games go, the more fun we get to have. And when you have 3 Infinity Edges and an Ornn, you have a lot of fun, Dracos.
2 Molten Edges, and you gotta feel bad for our boy Rabble. Rabble only got an Obsidian Cleaver. What was the original Black Cleaver made out of? That's my question. How much of an upgrade are we talking here? Like, was it just concrete painted black? Was it?
It was probably concrete. The concrete cleaver. Hjarnan!
Concrete cleaver. There it is. Hjarnan locked up, but this is what we were talking about. 6-item Aphelios does not care. 5.5 essentially is Tabasko. Not going to back off. It's Gabbo in the backside, but he's a late game Renekton, so he does not do damage. Phones acting as a perfect front line, and Endz just forced to walk away here. Last carry standing, but it is too little. It is too late, and we are just witnessing the victory lap of GamerLegion as they move in to close this one out.
Moving in to close it out, and Cospect continues to look for those hooks. This time it will not work out for them at all. GamerLegion still crushing them inside the base.
Phones, of course, just going in for the quick finish there, and Hjarnan playing cleanup. That's going to do it. GamerLegion moving up to 3-2, putting YDN right back down to 2-3. A well-earned victory, as mentioned. Took them a little bit longer to get the int out, but now we get to see GamerLegion perform at full strength.
Yeah, GamerLegion looking good right there, you know? They took it slow for a little while. Nite had to get a little bit more extra int out of his system, but in the end, they drafted the comp that could take it late. They were able to keep it close through all of it and come away with a win.
Yeah. God, really tough start for Nite. And I'm honestly, I'm sad to see YDN Gamers kind of draft themselves in a situation where they just didn't have any realistic counterplay late game. I think it was just a very, very hard draft to play. I respect that they went for it. I think it's a really, really ballsy move, quite frankly, but it just didn't feel like the right choice. Felt like maybe they were like still playing last game. You know what I mean? They're like a little bit too hyped about that previous win, playing Draven, and they just thought that it was just going to be easy peasy here up against GamerLegion.
Yeah, no, this one definitely in favor of GamerLegion. I would like to thank, looks like the LEC is rating with a party of 505 viewers, so big shout-outs to them. Thank you for the support.
Thanks, Enter. All right, quick toss to break. After this, we're going to be back with more content. It's EU Masters. I absolutely fumbled that toss. That's my last cast. Me and Ender are done for the day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of Group A and an exciting closeout in the final 3 games.
Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic? En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ces 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Time for a true display of skill.
My axe is ready. Witness true strength.
A gift from me to you. Ooh.
Another soul lost.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
welcome back. It's me and Ender again. We said we were leaving. We're not.
You said you were leaving. I did not mislead any of them.
Well, we were, and then we came back because we missed you, chat, and viewers at home. And we have to talk a little bit more about that last game before we start to break down the standings, because it was a steamy game, let's say.
A steamy game. Honestly, YDN played a pretty good game for a lot of this, right? Like, Gabbo in these fights was looking really, really good, but importantly, there was a big team fight where they ended up losing that Drake, which ended up delaying everything by 5 minutes, and meant that the scaling of GamerLegion was able to come online, because again, for 25 minutes of this game, it was all YDN, just with the caveat that we knew eventually it would look so rough from them. And then in this fight, Hjarnan, it's a thing of beauty.
Oh god, it's great. It's actually so wonderful to watch. High risk, as mentioned before, doesn't know if there's a ward there or not, isn't 100% confident, bam, goes for it anyway, and just gets to play cleanup. And even zooms out with the blast cone too. So he gets his one shot down, almost kills everybody, blast cone's out, comes right back in. I love that. And of course, that was the fight that really felt like it broke the game wide open. Really was, I think, the final nail in the coffin. At this point, it was kind of just you're watching the funeral of YDN, because they could not kill anyone. It took all of their burst damage just to kill Hjarnan, and then there was nothing left in the tank. Yeah,
the problem is you kill one, but then there's 2 AD carries left. You have a Corki and a Graves that are just right there to take Aphelios' place right there. So that does mean GamerLegion jump up to 3 wins here, right next to Gamers Origin. So looking for a potential battle for first and second here, barring some upsets later on.
So yeah, as an update, obviously for those of you following along, if you check out LoL Esports Stats, sorry, I blanked on the Twitter name, at LoL Esports Stat on Twitter, they have all 3 of the foldy sheets that you'll need for the remaining groups here. So if you're following along, you'll know this already, but for those of you who aren't, let me update you on the stakes here. The bracket is still very much an open board. Anyone can technically qualify for playoffs here, but the next 3 games are going to determine everything. It starts with Gamers Origin against BTXL. It's a really high stakes game because BTXL need to win the next game or they're out of contention. Similarly, a win from Gamers Origin locks them into quarterfinals, does not confirm if they'll be first or second seed, but guarantees that they will be into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, BTXL already started the day off on a win, which was a big surprise. But again, that was against a GamerLegion that supposedly had yet to warm up. So this game up here for BTXL is to really prove and see if they are the real deal going into their next game against YDN after that, because they've got to win out all day if UK wants a chance of making it out of Group A.
Absolutely true. Ender, I have bad news.
What's the bad news?
Despite all these lovely people at home watching and the people in chat talking to you at all times, it is time for us to go. It's going to be all from Ender and myself today. We're going to go. We're actually leaving this time, Ender, but the good news is we're leaving you in the incredibly talented hands of Excoundrel and Trouble Inc. Trouble Inc.'s first cast here with us on EU Masters, so root for her. She's absolutely going to crush it. Gamers Origin against BTXL. Huge stakes, huge matchup, hugely exciting League of Legends when we come back.
And also, I'll be